Hello and welcome to another Friday with Rachel. I don't believe there's a topic this week, so I'm just going to talk about a little bit about my my major project, which is Chaotic Galaxies. Those of you on the Scape channel who have checked out my website probably know a little bit about it, but here's the basics. Chaotic Galaxies is my science fiction novel series. It started out its life as a play-by-email role-playing game that was actually created by myself and DP Balding. We ran it on a program called Nova for a couple of years, and then we both decided a couple of years ago that we were going to launch into our own novel series. So I kind of took what I had contributed to the game, and he took what he had, and we started two very different novel series. I like to say that mine is more character level because it concentrates more on the characters themselves, and I found his to be more galaxy-wide. His big giant ship battles and big events that are happening across the entire galaxies, whereas mine is more concentrating on just the individuals in the ship itself. Chaotic Galaxies takes place 10 years after the destruction of Earth, and the first book, which I have actually self-published, is called Chaotic Galaxies, The End of Humanity. And in The End of Humanity, we see Earth's invasion and its destruction. And then it jumps ahead 10 years, where the lone surviving human meets up with the first of our unsuspecting aliens, which end up to be a small, tight-knit group that proceeds through the novels. So our lone human meets up with Rox, which is my favorite character. She is a Scorpii, which basically means that her species, which is a desert species, is evolved from a scorpion. So she has what I call a tri-tail, which is basically a scorpion's tail that splits into three halfway down, and when she's threatened, her instincts kick in and she crouches down and her tail comes up over her head, and it's got poisonous barbs and everything. So she's a very cool character. She's an engineer. She has her own ship, which is pretty much rust held together by duct tape. But she's a very confident character who unwittingly gets wrapped up in what our human, whom she names Beck, because she can't, the human herself can't remember her name, so Rox names her Beck. So she unwittingly gets pulled into what's going on with Beck and finds herself wanting to help out this poor human, even though her instincts are telling her to get the heck away. So slowly they meet up with a few more aliens along the way, and it's a story about how they find themselves fighting the main bad guy of the series, which is the Chaos Order, or I usually just call them the Order, who are the aliens that destroyed Earth. Little is known about the aliens in the series. They basically show up in methanite suits from head to toe. Methanite is kind of the substance that makes my galaxy go round. It's what enables the different races to have space-going capabilities. It's their fuel. It's what everything's made out of. It's the money system. So it's used heavily within the novels. But yeah, it's basically the series as it goes shows how the lives of these aliens progresses and how they find themselves pitted up against this unstoppable force. It's the Order. While they try to find out why exactly Earth was destroyed and why Beck is so special, because she's not your typical human, and so they're doing their best to help her out and figure out why the Order is basically terrorizing the known galaxies. There are a few different bad guys in the series, like the Blood Traders, who basically traffic in stolen blood, which they take from their victims. There's slavers, because there's slavery throughout the known galaxies, so there are a number of races who have basically pretty much been decimated by slavers. And then there's the Plagued, which are pretty much zombies in space, but there's a little twist. They're actually showcased in my third book, called The Plagued, which is one of my favorite ones because I really like zombies. Anyway, I'm working on my edits for the second book, which is called Galaxies Blood. I've got my first round of edits done. I'm just waiting for my mom to finish the graphics for the back cover so that I can order the proofs from CreateSpace and start doing my second round of edits and sending it off to my writer friends, Bettina and Sarah. Thanks, guys. So that they can look over it because they're English teachers, which is very handy for me, and pick out those grammar mistakes that I need a little help on. So hopefully I'll have that self-published, hopefully by May, but I'm not holding my breath because I take a lot longer than I expected. I also have on my website, I try every Monday, but I'm not very good at it, to update my short story section, where I do short stories to take place in the same setting as the novels, which I call the known Galaxies. It relates to the characters from the books themselves, and also some website exclusive characters like Asher, Kurt, Ollie, and Zoe. So some characters will be just on the website, or they may have small cameos in the novel series. So if you want to check out what my writing is like, you can check out those short stories. They're not quite as polished as the novels. I keep meaning to go back and polish them up a little bit more, and it's kind of one of my goals going to be in the next couple months for WriYe, is to go and give them a really good look over. But it's a good example of my writing if you're interested in picking up the books. I do have a re-edited copy of Chaotic Galaxies End of Humanity that I need to upload to Kobo and Amazon, as well as try to figure out how I'm going to print book through CreateSpace, given that it's an American company and I'm Canadian, and I'm not quite sure how the tax stuff works. But anyway, that's a little bit about my project. Again, you'll probably hear about it a lot because I absolutely love the characters and the continuity I've created. But that's just, yeah, kind of a brief introduction to it. I'll probably talk more about the books themselves and a few of the other projects I'm doing around that in later days. So I hope you've enjoyed this intro here, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.